My ex insists that her daughter is mine but refuses the DNA testing, so I got the court involved. She had a major breakdown when all her lies were exposed. Buckle up. 15 years ago, I was 25 and finishing my contract, and my then girlfriend of 3 years, Natalie, was acting increasingly strange. I came back from a 2-month assignment and was prepared to break up with Natalie. She came by and gave me the good news: she was pregnant. I asked how far along she was. She said 5 weeks, so I broke it off with her and told her she needed to do better at math. She refused the breakup and insisted the baby was mine, so I told her the following: 1. Paternity test, and 2. If the child was mine, we can talk about financial support and custody arrangements with lawyers. She refused both and told everyone we both knew that I was a deadbeat for knocking her up and leaving her. I told everyone I was on a 2-month assignment when she conceived, but a few insisted for the sake of decency I house her and give her limited support. I consulted a lawyer about this mess, and the lawyer made it very, very clear that any overt support I give could be seen as me taking responsibility. So I told these friends that, and most dropped it, except one guy, who again insisted that charity couldn't be used as a legal cudgel like that. I told him if he believes that he can house her. He agreed to drop it after that. Child was born and not even going to do the whole she didn't look like me, because most babies are born with squashed faces, and all I saw were the pics she sent me with messages like Emma wants to know where daddy is and poop. She still refused to take any paternity tests. But her constantly showing up with that baby got to the point where I filed in Roe. Fun fact, in my state, a permanent Roe is not, in fact, permanent. It is 2 fucking years long. The only way to get it longer is if there was a violent crime associated. And apparently bugging someone with a baby that's not theirs is not a violent crime. So my life for the last 14 years has been me renewing the Roe every 2 years, because, once it clears, Natalie shows up again with my not child. I did eventually find a nice girl, get married, and now I have a 9-year-old son, Henry. My wife Kim is well aware of Natalie and Emma. When the cycle begins again, I always say the same thing: 1. Paternity test. 2. Once paternity is proven, I will take custody and get financial support set up. Natalie always refuses and says both are insulting. Recently the cycle started again, and this time Emma showed up first. She approached my son during a school event, visit to the zoo, and said, "Hi, I'm your big sister Emma." Henry knew about stranger danger and ran away to a teacher. I had to have a very, very painful talk to the teachers and parents that were at the event about my relationship with Emma and Natalie, and how Emma was never my daughter. I even called her my daughter once or twice in the conversation. After the group disbanded, one of the mothers confronted me and said that while Natalie was in the wrong, telling this poor child I was her father, calling her my daughter was mocking the situation. I kind of get where she's coming from. I just can't help this child, and the honest truth is that playing in the light of the 2-year cycles is the closest I can get to finding peace in the situation. Update 1. Got off the phone with my attorney. We have a preliminary hearing on the new Roe this week. We will most likely be issued a temporary Roe, and then after that another hearing for the permanent Roe. CPS is investigating Natalie and Emma's living situation. The teacher's report held a lot of weight, and my lawyer thinks that this might actually be a way to end the madness now. In family court, for minors, there exists something like a temporary, court-appointed guardian. I think the term is guardian ad litem, who is only a guardian for legal purposes and procedures and decisions, including medical. If the family court appoints such for Emma, we can ask this temporary guardian for the DNA test and get this put to ground. The madness might actually have an ending in sight. Court update: the preliminary hearing on the new Roe went well. Emma and Natalie were there, and we discovered that Emma lives with her great-grandmother and has a guardian ad litem, court-appointed guardian on legal matters. My lawyer thinks this means whatever was found in Natalie's home situation warranted removing Emma, and potentially severe enough that the great-grandmother only has physical custody and the need to appoint a guardian ad litem. During the hearing, we went through the whole song and dance, the past Roes, the whole deal. My lawyer turned to Emma's representative and said we were willing to submit to a DNA test and put this to bed. Natalie looked like she was having a conniption at that, and her own lawyer urged her to shush. Emma's representative accepted and we were cheek swabbed in the courthouse. A temporary order is now in place while a second hearing is scheduled in the upcoming weeks for the permanent 2-year order. The order covers immediate family on both sides, and as I've detailed in the past, Natalie is actually good with following court orders, oddly. We have about 4 weeks before we have the definitive test results back, but I'm not too worried either way. Update 3, we got the results late last week, as did Emma's party. I am not the father. Natalie had a major blow-up when she heard the news from her grandmother Sylvia. Emma's currently living at Sylvia's and is out of Natalie's custody. This blow-up included a major tantrum on my front lawn, which also violated the temporary Roe. Natalie has been arrested and Sylvia hasn't bailed her out. Sylvia has communicated to my lawyer that she wanted to give her apologies for bankrolling Natalie's life the past 15 years. I only met Sylvia a few times when I was dating Natalie, and I know. Natalie grew up with her, and Sylvia had money, but was never really told the extent of that. Sylvia has communicated, via my lawyer, which is technically allowed with the Roe in place, that both she and Emma want to send me an apology via a letter. I told my lawyer they were free to write whatever letters they wanted, as long as this was the last communication we had with them. The permanent Roe is certainly going to be granted now, with the emergency one violated. We still don't know what caused Emma to be removed from Natalie's care, or if Natalie has any underlying issues. If we do get the letters, I will post them. Update 4, I got them Friday after my lawyer read them and deemed them okay. Sylvia's letter detailing Natalie had a rough family life, stuff I already knew about Natalie's father running out, then her mother leaving Sylvia to raise her. A lot of I did my best with what I had. Sylvia detailed that she and Emma will be okay. She does still have some money, not a few money, but enough that Emma will have enough to get a very decent jump start in life when she turns 18. Sylvia housed Natalie and Emma in a house she owned in the city, while Sylvia lived about an hour north, out in the country. She sent Natalie money monthly for expenses, and saw them about 4 times a year: birthday, Easter, Thanksgiving, Christmas. As to Emma's living situation, the only thing Sylvia said was the photos she saw of the city house broke her heart. Sylvia pledged not to enable Natalie anymore. Emma's letter was a lot sadder. It started with "Father who is not my father," which I found weird. She detailed how Natalie told her that if she behaved, I would accept her. My acceptance of her hinged entirely on Emma doing as told. Emma said Sylvia has her in therapy and that Natalie told them both that I was dodging the test using legal loopholes. She said seeing me suggest the person test made her feel like Natalie was right, I could accept her. She felt happy and hopeful. When the results came in, she said that was worse than not knowing. She apologized for scaring my son, brother who is not my brother, as she said in the letter. Her letter has a weird tone, and I feel like she is coming to terms with things. It did hurt to read, but both of them pledged not to interact with any of us anymore. Natalie is still in jail. Maybe it's finally over.